Let's talk about Envictus International. You probably know them from brands like Texas Chicken and San Francisco Coffee. Well, their latest financial report dropped, and it's a real head-scratcher. It tells two completely different stories at the same time. And today, we're going to figure out what's really going on with their business.
So, on the surface, things look pretty good. The company's total revenue for the year shot up by a solid 8.4%, hitting almost 745 million ringgit. That's a really healthy sign, right? It suggests people are buying more of their stuff and their business is growing. But hold on, that's not the whole picture.
Because then you see this number. While they were selling more, their net profit absolutely tanked, falling by a massive 40.3%. And that's the kind of thing that makes you go, wait, what? How does that even happen?
So, that's our big puzzle today. How can a company be bringing in more money through the front door, but have so much less left over at the end of the day? It's not as simple as just, oh, costs went up. There's something more going on here, and we're going to put the pieces together.
Okay, first things first. Let's look at the bright side. Where exactly did that 8.4% revenue growth come from? The good news for them is that it wasn't just one part of the business doing all the heavy lifting. The growth was actually spread out pretty nicely.
This chart gives you a really clear snapshot of their business. As you can see, the Food Services Division, that's where you find Texas Chicken and San Francisco Coffee, is the big one. It makes up nearly 62% of all their revenue. But, their dairies and trading divisions are no small potatoes either, giving them a pretty balanced portfolio.
And check this out. This is where you can see the engine working. While every single division grew, their dairies business was the real star, jumping 12%. Even their biggest division, Food Services, grew by almost 8%. So from a sales point of view, things are looking great. They're definitely moving in the right direction.
So we've confirmed it. Sales are up everywhere. Now it's time to tackle that main question. Why did profit fall off a cliff? Well, the answer starts to get a whole lot clearer when we look at the numbers side by side.
And here it is. This is the biggest clue in the whole puzzle. If you look closely at last year's profit in FY2024, you'll see it included a huge 9 million ringgit one-time gain because they sold off an asset. This is so important because it means last year's profit number was artificially high. It had a big booster shot. So comparing this year to that number makes the drop look way more dramatic than it actually is.
This table makes it even clearer. We're looking at something called earnings per share, or EPS. Just think of it as the company's profit divided up by all of its shares. That top line shows the reported number, the one that's down that scary 40.3%. But look at the second line. When we take out that one-off gain from last year to get a true apples-to-apples comparison, the drop is actually 27.3%. Now that's still a big drop, don't get me wrong, but it gives us a much more honest picture of how the core business is performing.
So even after we adjust for that one-off thing, there was still a real decline in profit. And these right here are the culprits. It was like a perfect storm. They got hit with rising costs like higher minimum wage and electricity bills, their tax bill went way up, and the market is just brutally competitive right now. To top it all off, some of their other little income streams, like from co-branding deals, also dried up a bit.
To really see how all these numbers play out in the real world, let's zoom in on their biggest division, Food Services. Because inside that one division, you've got this fascinating story of two very different brands.
On one hand, you have Texas Chicken, and they are absolutely crushing it. Revenue is up a fantastic 10%, and they're planning to open 17 more restaurants, just full steam ahead. But then you look over at San Francisco Coffee, and it's a completely different story. Their revenue dropped almost 16%. Why? Because they're getting swamped by competition from all these new coffee chains popping up everywhere. It's a tough spot to be in and really shows you the challenges they're facing. So we have this mixed bag, right? Strong growth in some spots, but real pressure in others. So what's the game plan? What's the strategy for navigating the road ahead?
The company's leader, the group CEO, Dato Jayatan, is pretty upfront about the challenges. He's acknowledging the tough environment, but he's also framing their performance as resilient. The key phrase to pull out of this is cautiously optimistic. They see the problems, but they're confident they have a plan to create value in the long run.
And here is that plan, broken down into 4 key moves. First, they're doubling down on what's working. Go big on Texas Chicken expansion. Second, for the struggling brand San Francisco Coffee, they're pivoting to a more flexible, asset-light model. Think franchising, smaller kiosks, things like that. Third, they're going to build on the momentum of their fast-growing Suchohan Dairies brand. And finally, the foundation for everything is a super tight focus on efficiency and managing costs to protect those profits.
And so that leaves us with the big multi-million-dollar question for next year. Envictus has a clear growth plan, but they're also staring down some serious headwinds with costs and competition. The real test, the ultimate challenge, will be whether they can make their profit growth catch up to their impressive revenue growth. They've started to solve the puzzle of 2025, but the next chapter is still unwritten.